bonus.
And here we go.
You want to be like? Sensitivity equals fucking poverty.
Insensitive Culture, the podcast. Check it out, homie.
You guys want to get into some spoiler alert so we can talk about this Doctor Strange trailer? Because it is that time.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
What's up?
Esteban.
Esteban. I expect it now.
I know.
I knew it was coming.
It must be done.
It has to be.
It's our tribute.
It must be done.
Guys, so our good friend Pilger is joining us on this conversation about the trailer.
It's been a while. When was the last time, Steve? When was the last time you joined us like this? Was it just Wanda?
Was it the What If? Did I join?
We did. I think we joined in on a couple What If. Yeah, whenever we would talk about it, I think so. It's been a while. It's been a while, buddy.
It has.
We missed you here on the show.
Well, I appreciate that. I miss you guys.
Oh,
we know this, of course. Just because we're assholes like that. We feel like everyone misses us.
right. We're self-absorbed.
I mean, I get it.
No, but guys, so all right, so during the Super Bowl yesterday, it was yesterday, Sunday for those of you by the time this drops. We got that new trailer for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness,
which I didn't even know was coming.
I didn't know
very
either.
Spur of the moment. Wanda Bowl was trending on Twitter, and I was like, guys, I think something wild is going to drop. And then sure enough, and
then we got
5 minutes later,
trailers. So we got the TV spot just before the singing of the national anthem, and then immediately at that same exact time they dropped the full second trailer to that. And oh my fucking god, how crazy was that trailer?
There was so much more to unpack than I even realized.
Yes.
It was insane.
Yeah.
There's an insane amount, and all of the rumors going around about it is even more so. It continues to blow my mind. So the biggest thing that didn't hit the main trailer that I just want to bring up front so that we could talk about it is do you think that we are visiting like the zombie world or the zombie universe, or what? Or do you think it was just like a moment in this thing? Because it's very obvious in the TV spot, and that's the only place where they show it. We see a Doctor Strange zombie that looks very similar to the What If zombie of Doctor Strange and the Wanda zombie, and it's very quick, but we don't see that in the second trailer.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, I think we're going to end up seeing not only multiple different multiverses, we're going to end up seeing a lot of multiverses merging together. So I'm not sure if we'll see the actual zombie multiverse or if we'll see the zombies enter a different multiverse. Because it seems like Strange is going to be bouncing around. That one scene that I think was in both the TV spot and the trailer of him kind of like coming up off the floor with all the like red orbs.
Yeah,
I'm guessing that's him like kind of like charting a path through the multiverses that are relevant to the story. So
I don't know too much about the comic books, but it seems like with a lot of the breakdowns that I've been watching, it seems like it's calling back to your favorite series there, The House of M, where a lot of things are being taken from that.
Yeah, I think there's a huge chunk of House of M influence, and there's even like in that one scene in the trailer where it shows him and America Chavez like breaking apart. And like their faces are all cubey. That's a very specific. That looks very specifically like one of the covers for the House of M series.
Yep.
Where Wanda is just kind of like disfragmenting in it. So I'm curious if what else they're going to carry from that. I mean, the entirety of WandaVision was based off of that concept. Wanda creating her own reality where she had everything she wanted, and even towards the end of WandaVision, where she's trying to convince the residents of Westview, like, you're happy, you're content, like, no, we're suffering. Like, that was kind of the ultimate outcome of House of M. So I think this is going to be a big continuation of that story for Wanda.
Yeah, and it looked like also I couldn't tell because at the end of WandaVision, we just assumed that she kind of split herself in two. And we saw a part of her sitting outside, just kind of making coffee, being calm. And then the Scarlet Witch version of herself was summoning the dark magic, looking for her kids.
Right.
In this one, it almost seems like it's in the same vein that there's two of them in there. But it doesn't seem like she's like split her consciousness. It seems like there were two versions of her that possibly battled each other or something, and they ended up in the same place. So I'm very interested to see what happened there. Almost like, and I saw that on a breakdown too. They explained that it could have been possibly her giving into the evil side of herself and giving, which we assumed was the Scarlet Witch side, but we really don't know which side was the evil side. Mm-hmm. However, if you give them hold of your body, that side is going to take part of every fucking, every power that you have. So
one of the things that if you look really closely and compare to the original teaser that we got at the end of Spider-Man, that kind of scene where she's talking to Strange and they're kind of walking through that field. If you compare that scene that they showed, and I think there's like a brief little bit in the new trailer, but then also the scene where she's telling him in her Scarlet Witch form that, you break the rules, you become the hero, I break the rules and I become the villain, doesn't seem fair. Like, she is in the exact same pose. Mm-hmm. He is wearing the exact same clothes. So the working theory right now is that, like, she's projecting what she wants people to see once she reveals, like, what's actually going on. Like, she just is the Scarlet Witch. Like, she's not Wanda anymore as far as anyone's concerned, really. She is the Scarlet Witch. And she's more or less like completely broken. That's the whole thing with like Scarlet Witch in the comics, is that Scarlet Witch is, daughter of Magneto, like obviously a villain because of that, but joins the Avengers because her and Quicksilver have this like moment of like, oh shit, like we've done some crap throughout our lives. But Wanda's always a very broken character, so I'm not surprised if they're gonna hone in on that, and I think she might become some sort of like martyr by the end of the story. I wouldn't be surprised if they quote kill Wanda, but not in actuality because multiverse. So we'll see how they play that out.
Just the version of Wanda. Another interesting thing that I got from the trailer too is we saw when he woke up in the bed, and it seemed like there were little key things, like there was a laptop and everything there. And that's when he said he woke up to the nightmare. And it seemed like the nightmare was that he kept reliving like what we saw in What If, where he just kept, but he was doing that to himself, where he just kept trying to relive the same life, trying to save his girl. And every single time it kept, she would die and it would just eat away at him, and he literally gave everything up. I think that there's also there's also a part of it where it may be something that's being projected to him, where he's reliving certain things at a certain point of the movie, or and it could be Scarlet Witch. Another thought is Nightmare might be the full on, like, the actual villain at the end of this, but we don't know for sure.
That scene you were talking about
also,
with his his
the
hands, right?
Exactly.
That was the one thing that stuck out to me, where his hands weren't scarred and busted up as though it was some either alternate Strange or alternate reality that it was happening in, because they weren't, damaged looking like we know they are.
It could also be that there's other Stranges in other universes reaching out through him or communing. It definitely looks like there's the one scene where he's looking up at the statue of himself.
Yeah.
Obviously in some sort of like awe, because like, what the hell's this? So it makes me wonder if maybe there's a plot of, Strange is powerful enough to maybe stop what's going on, and he's being killed throughout multiverses. And so he is being brought into universes where he is either dead or by others that recognize the plot that people are out to get him, and other Stranges are trying to protect him and bring him to their universes to help protect themselves. So
yeah,
that was something that I was thinking too was very, very possible.
Now, what were you gonna ask?
I was gonna say, when are we gonna mention that stinger in the middle of the trailer?
Yeah, I was actually gonna lead up to that. So the biggest part that everybody is talking about is the part of it where Strange is cuffed and led by a bunch of Ultron. What are they called? Ultron
Sentinels.
Ultron bots.
Yeah, like Ultron bots. Okay. To what seems to be like a courtroom of sorts,
a tribunal.
Like a tribunal, and it seems a lot of people are speculating that is the Illuminati. That is very big in the comics right now. For quite a while, the Illuminati is not exactly what we would think the Illuminati to be, but more a secret group of powerful. I'm not gonna say mutants, but just a secret of people with powers who want to keep some sort of an order.
That's what we think the Illuminati is, don't we? Isn't that exactly
I
what
guess,
we think
yes,
the Illuminati is?
But it's not
exactly
Professor X.
What it is.
But it's not. But our Illuminati is not.
Right, it doesn't
Professor
involve
X
mutants. Right, sure,
exactly.
I understand that. Thank you.
But the biggest takeaway is the voice of Patrick Stewart. Yeah. And we know that
I heard that shit right away, dog.
You did. I didn't hear it right away.
I was like,
I didn't hear it until I heard the breakdown.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
I got the ear.
So that is the biggest thing right now that has come from that. Illuminati. Professor X is a part of the Illuminati, as well as Iron Man, Namor.
Yeah, there were some people in there that I did.
Well, why does it have
Black
to be
Bolt.
Illuminati when, like...
Well, listen,
like,
there's
this is not a thing that I've ever heard of before. So, like, you hear Professor X's voice, and the only thing possible that he's a part of in that... Like, especially because, boy, do they be changing shit up in trailers where they be using voices from one part of a movie and using it in a whole nother part of the trailer that don't even match up. So, of course, but it's a very interesting speculation, this Illuminati thing, because it's not a thing I've ever heard of, and it'd be cool if that's what they're pulling from. It's just... It just seems like wild that people would immediately jump to, oh my God, it's Professor X. It must be Illuminati.
And they name
So,
everyone in the Illuminati as well. They're like, this is also who's in the Illuminati. Like it's been written.
Well, so that's been a lot of the big rumors with it too.
Let me
that,
finish
like,
before they went off on that tangent.
We never do.
That's been one of the big rumors with the Illuminati showing up is that, well, in the comics, the Illuminati are like very rarely actually mentioned. They have their own run in the comics, but like where most other Marvel comic events have a lot of crossover, the Illuminati kind of like is in its own thing. They pop up and cause some sort of, or have an influence over some sort of other event, but it's never really mentioned that it's them in the background. So that's, Johnny, I think why it's like, it's pretty low key, not really understood who they are and what they're doing. But in most cases, they are the overlords of protecting the
How many
universes
overlords
that
are there, bro? There's so many overlords.
well, so in the Illuminati, it's normally the smartest and most respected heroes, and nobody really knows that they're doing what they're doing in the background. But in the comics, they are responsible.
I'm just saying, there's the
There's a lot of-
Illuminati, there's the Watchers, there's the
Celestials,
there's
The Eternals. There's so many
Eternals.
fucking groups that are
so many
supposed to.
overlords.
Who's the highest?
TVA
Well, the TVA, they're
in the MCU is
no,
bullshit,
but listen, I wanted to say
in the
this
comics,
because
there's just so many.
Because we touched on this, right? We talked about this.
well, no, what I was saying is from that scene, regardless of its Illuminati, which in the comic books that's what they're referred to as, so that's what we're gonna refer to them as. In speculation, but we don't know if that's what the name would be in the MCU because shit changes in the MCU. And I thought initially that it was TVA, but what they pointed out specifically in the breakdowns that I've seen are the fact that there are 3 chairs, but there are only 3 people sitting, or there are 6 chairs, but only 3 people were present. And the speculation, there's a lot of speculation on who those are, including Ultimate Iron Man. I think that's what his name, right? Is that the name, or is it Superior Iron Man?
Superior.
Superior. There we go. Superior Iron Man.
Bad guy Iron Man.
Right. So apparently, one of the speculations that it is Superior Iron Man, who wields 2 Infinity Stones, and that the thought is that he walks around with Thanos' head in a jar, which a lot of the speculation is pointing towards that because that comes directly from the universe where Iron Man actually successfully beat Ultron in the premise of that movie,
Age of Ultron?
in Age of Ultron, but in the comics. So the version that actually beat it ended up becoming Superior Iron Man. So they're saying like maybe the Iron Man or I'm sorry, the Ultron bots bringing them up is because that all plays into that. So that's where the rumors
That
come
was
from.
crazy.
That
I didn't even notice that those
Yeah.
were Ultron bots, but
I didn't
those are
either.
definitely Ultron
those are
bots.
definitely Ultra bots. And then the biggest rumor coming from that is that because Tom Cruise for a long time has been speculated that he turned down that role, or that was the talk of it, that he turned down that role a long time ago, obviously to Robert Downey Jr., that he is going to appear in a cameo as an alternate universe Tony Stark, which
Really?
possibly could be. Yeah, it very
That would
well
be
could
cool.
be. And one of his stipulations was that he wanted to wear a suit where it didn't hide his face, which with Superior Iron Man,
Yo, people be finding a lot of details.
they do. Which with Superior Iron Man, that seems to be the costume there. So there's a lot of speculation on that. Another speculation is that one of the people sitting on the chair, it could possibly be Reed Richards. It looks like it could be the silhouette of a Black Panther of sort, which he was a part of the Illuminati at one point. But Reed Richard is a part of the Illuminati there. So we don't, and so they're hoping that this is also going to be the introduction of either the new Reed Richard or just acknowledging that Reed Richard exists and we get the OG Reed Richards from the previous movie. You know, early 2000s.
I was saying not the Michael B. Jordan one.
No, not that one. Nobody gives a fuck about that one. But the reason why I said all that, another stipulation that came from all of that, and it just fucking left my head. I hate that shit. I hate when that shit happens. No. TVA. We were talking about the TVA. In New Rockstars, I think he mentioned it. He was saying maybe Kang was a part of this Illuminati, and he was kicked out of it, and then formed some Illuminati-esque type of group that manages time, which then turned out to be TVA, and that's a possibility, and we definitely know Kang is a part of it, and he has to fit into all of this somehow. We may not see Kang, but it'd be
dope.
It'd be plausible
for sure.
That
it'd be really weird for them not to show us Kang in some way, some nod to it,
right?
In something like this, especially when we know he dropped the multiversal war line at the end of Loki.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's all these versions of me, and we started a multiversal war. Like,
he kind of kicked this off, right? Like
we're stepping into the multiverse of madness, and you're not gonna let this guy show up, or at least have his like presence rear its head. Yeah, and
I still think post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I
possibly.
mean, even something like that. So I think with the Illuminati, though, my guess is that we're going to get like the original lineup, which has been comprised of Xavier, Strange, Reed, Iron Man, Namor,
and Black Bolt.
Black Bolt, yes, Black Bolt. That's the other one. Which would be another one that's
who the fuck is Black Bolt?
Oh,
man. Who the fuck is all
humans.
The people you named besides Reed and Strange?
No, so Namor, we know he's coming up in they mentioned a disturbance in Endgame. They mentioned a disturbance underwater, and he said, "How are we going to handle it? We don't handle it. That's how we handle it." And that was a talk of Namor, which is an underwater king similar to Aquaman. Yeah. Am I right on that?
Yes. Namor is
that
essentially
a nod to
Marvel's.
Namor?
Well, that was just a mention that he exists. That
Namor's,
people. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Namor has been a Fantastic Four villain as well in the past, so that's where the Illuminati forming. Namor is a very stuck-up son of a bitch. Like in the comics, he is so sure of himself. He is always like, my dominion of the sea is like so much better than the dominion of man on land, et cetera, et cetera. But him and Reed have like a power struggle within themselves, and they become like kind of frenemies throughout the comics. But the original lineup, it's kind of like Xavier represents the mutant community, Iron Man represents the non-powered superpowers, Namor represents obviously the ocean and whatnot, Black Bolt represents the Inhumans, Strange represents the Mystic Arts. So there's like literally a spokesperson for every type of super that resides in the world, and that's how they justify what they're doing, is like, we're covering all the bases without having to involve everybody. And then they decide to do things like, we need to kill Wanda because she's too much of a threat to all of humanity and mutant kind. We need to send the Hulk to outer space because he's going to destroy cities every other month. Like shit like that is what gets the Illuminati going, and then gets them in trouble ultimately.
And not only that, but when it comes to Namor, it is also the speculation that he is the possible villain in Black Panther 2. And
which we're supposed to get late this year, right?
Which we're supposed to get late this year. And the person that mentioned, the person that said that we don't handle it, and that's how we handle it, is I forget her name.
Okoye.
Yeah.
I don't remember
the head of the Dora Milaje.
The head of the Dora Milaje. Yes. This was when this was right after, like right in the beginning, when
Apparently not.
Black Widow was having the meeting and everyone else was in the hologram, and she was meeting with Rocket Raccoon, Captain Marvel. So
I remember that. See, I don't remember that.
And she said there was a strange earthquake under the water. Did we look at that? And she said, yeah, we handled it by not handling it. So
I must have brushed it off.
And I remember back then that was somebody saying like that was just them saying it was such a small line, but it was the first recognition of Namor and there's some shit going on underwater, and they're aware of it. But they just choose not to deal with that at that time.
Is Namor just Ramon backwards? Is there anything to that? Is that
more like Roman?
Roman. Yeah, okay.
Roman.
Roman.
Yeah. Blazer Roman. Yeah, Blazer Roman.
Roman. Maybe just Roman.
Roman, yeah, maybe. I had to spice it up a little bit.
Put that Latin flair on it.
Roman.
Roman.
Oh, look at that. Look at you rolled your R. I'm proud of you.
Hey, I'm a native Spanish speaker.
He asked me one time. He was like, "Hey, are all Spanish people able to roll their R's?" I was like, "Only the ones who know Spanish."
I was under the impression that rolling your R was like a trait that you were born with, or you weren't.
Like a genetic trait.
Yes, like a genetic trait. Yeah. I didn't think it was something that could be learned. Honestly,
no, you can. You just rolled your R's, and I'm proud of you, buddy.
I mean, I've been rolling my R's for years.
Oh, look at you!
Oh, look at
you.
You were born with that. Fancy pants.
Yeah, that's why the Latinas love him. He's like, "Come here."
That was a terrible R roll. Are you really Hispanic?
Well, "come here" is not a real good way to roll your R's. Anyway, back to the trailer. So, more speculation. So a lot of people are wondering who that entity, that brightly lit entity was that was coming at or person coming at Wanda in a small scene in the battle. And I immediately thought that was Monica Rambeau. But it alternate universe. It could be her, it could be her mother. Just because, again, multiverse, we don't know. Some people think that it was again Tom Cruise, but I don't think so.
Why do people keep saying
they're
Tom
really
Cruise?
leaning
It's either
into this
Monica
Tom Cruise thing.
Rambeau or it's Tom Cruise. It's either a white dude or a black chick, and we're not sure yet. We'll figure it out.
I think that's Monica Rambeau. So and I'm sticking with that one. It seems like she has a very feminine figure, or her mother who was known to what was her name? Was it
Photon.
Maria.
Photon? There we go, Photon.
Yes, thank you.
She went by that name, and in some universes she took on that power. But Monica Rambeau also took on that power. So, and it would make sense that Monica Rambeau would be the one, since we saw her last go through that whole change in WandaVision, and it would make sense why she's fighting Wanda.
Yeah, they definitely have a history.
So I'm sticking with that
for sure.
One thing that I do want to bring up before we end this, but was such a small little fragment of a scene that you would not have caught, because I've been trying to pause it because I'm playing the just as a reminder, I'm playing it here, and I've been trying to pause it on that scene and I couldn't do it. So there was a scene where Strange was falling through different universes, and we saw a small snippet of Savage World where you see the dinosaurs and everything, where we're just constant fighting. Yeah. And then it breaks again. The glass breaks, and then it just instantly, just like a bright light, right? And that's when he's in the bed. The smallest frame, they were able to pause it and say, "Look at this," where it was like an animated fucking cone. A parking cone, and from that they were able to look at it and say, this looks like the same exact animation that is in X-Men from 1997, and with a leak that we've seen with Professor X and his wheelchair being that same gold color
Gold wheelchair. Yeah.
from the animated series. There, the assumption is that the Professor X that we are getting in this is from the animated series. Now, the only real reason why I'm like, holy shit, that's kind of exciting is because we know that X-Men 97 has been confirmed that they are continuing that storyline at Disney. So
Do you see them continuing an MCU storyline, an animated show?
I don't think so, but at the same time, it's still a futuristic. It's still a continuation
They're doing
of that
it with
show.
What If?
They are,
What
yeah.
If is an animated show that's part of the MCU storyline.
Is it though? Like, I mean,
Oh yeah.
So here's what I'm thinking with
what
that.
if? Like,
What if this were to happen? But then we saw.
What if?
But then we saw that ultimate version of Strange.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that episode. That was a what if episode. Now it looks like we may see him in this movie.
What I did notice was in the closed caption, they referred to him as Sinister Strange.
It is Sinister Strange, yeah.
Sinister Strange.
Well,
Is that a known character?
Sinister Strange specifically?
Yeah.
I'm not that I'm fully aware of, but Strange has definitely I don't know that anyone's ever referred to him as Sinister Strange. But there is enough enough strange stories that he's definitely gone evil. So there's definitely ties that they can bring that in. I still think it's most likely the what do they call him? Strange Supreme in What If.
Sorcerer
I still
Supreme.
think there's that. The other thing is
That's what I thought, but when I seen that on the captions, that's why I was like,
yeah, but did they name him in What If? Because we know that he took on
I think it did say Strange Supreme in the caption.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Possibly.
I believe it did, and I believe that's what marketing and promotional materials. I think the Funko is Strange Supreme. So somebody's calling him that. I don't know if you guys looked at all at the poster that was also released, but you can see Captain Carter's shield in it.
Yeah, you can.
Oh yeah, I
It
did
is,
see
yeah.
seen that. Yeah.
A broken Captain Carter seal. Shield.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's definitely other nods there that I don't know if it's just it's multiverse, so let's just put a bunch of shit into the poster and whatnot. But I would assume that if they're gonna put a drop like that in the poster, that it's probably gonna come up in the film itself.
Right.
So
I assumed that they were keeping What If and the MCU separate because of that article that we read about the chick going to she wrote the episode and the dude was like, yeah, this is basically the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie. We can't do this. I assumed because they did that they were trying to keep them separate. We don't want the same stories. We don't want overlapping stories. I assumed separate.
I took that as saying the plot that you are trying to write is the plot of this whole movie. We can't do that twice.
But I mean, the zombies and shit, that was in What If, and I feel like they're trying to incorporate that. So, you're saying because it's not the whole plot.
Cross.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I
Gotcha.
think what she came up with was basically what he said.
plot.
The whole plot of the movie. And he was like, well, we can't do that. That's basically the whole plot of what we're doing.
Yeah.
Let's do some other shit that we can.
Which is
incorporate.
why
But I think it's supposed to incorporate the way that you guys. I think you mentioned it, right? The way that the freaking buildings were melting away.
Yep.
It's exactly the way they were melting away in What If. That would be weird if it's not
I'm sure there are some that are connected and some that aren't, because I don't think we're gonna see Party Thor in any of these.
Well, I mean, the whole idea is that it's what if, right?
Right,
Like
you're
these
right.
are alternate versions.
Like, what if
of
this
real
were
life.
part of the MCU?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
what if? Like, that's
Yeah,
why I
what if this
assumed
happened?
that it was separate. Like, this would be cool. It's not what happens, but what if this were to happen? Now they're saying this actually does
feel you.
happen. So,
I
like,
feel you.
how is
It
it what
can.
if anymore at that point? Like, that happened. It's happening.
Yeah.
Like,
But
It's
that's
all
the thing is it
multiverse,
did
though.
happen, right? We seen the Watcher was seeing how many different. He referenced it as not. What if this thing was just magically occurred? He referenced it as this is what you saw, but what if you saw something else because this is what happened in another universe,
Exactly.
and so he made it connected to the multiverse, and because of that take on it, that's what makes it, I think, part of the whole central. It's not our timeline, but it's still tangentially connected. And if we're gonna make a whole fucking movie that's all about multiversal shit, if they're gonna crash into the same walls that the Washer was crashing through.
I got to
when he
go
was
back and
fighting
watch. I got to
fucking,
go back and watch the what ifs again.
Ultimate whatever.
I watched them as like a fun
Ultron.
thing. I didn't like watch them as though like, oh my god, this could come into play someday in an
now it's
actual
like,
You're gonna
movie.
have to
And now it's
rewatch
fucking.
then. You better rewatch that
that's-
shit.
Well,
Then.
that was
Literally.
so. That was the thing is we all saw it in the same light.
Like,
however,
not all of
Apparently
it,
not.
but
Y'all thought y'all knew what was going
some
on.
of
I'm like,
it
oh, this
could-
is fun.
yeah.
no, I thought
I was
of
always
it
like some part of all of this could possibly
could
make its
possibly
way
yeah
into the MCU. Yeah.
When I saw the episode with Strange, that one I was like, oh, we're gonna see him in another movie at some point.
Yeah.
It just felt that way.
Yeah.
Another thing, of course, because the theories are going crazy. Another theory is that it's not Superior Iron Man, but it's actually that Ultron that we saw in What If.
Oh, yeah.
He became part of that council. But we don't know. It's more likely that it's possibly a version.
Also, how like
version of Iron Man.
the tentacle monster was referenced like 2 or 3 times in What If.
Yeah.
In 2 or 3 different episodes, and there's a tentacle monster in the Multiverse of Madness that may or may not be the same tentacle monster. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see all of that. Esteban, since you know much more than us, is there anything else that you wanted to add to this stellar conversation?
I don't think anything in particular. I think the only thing that we didn't really talk about is America Chavez showing up.
Yeah.
Which I'm
Yep.
Can
very
we
excited
refresh
for
my
personally.
memory on America Chavez? Because when I
This
saw
is
that
her
in the
first.
trailer, I was like, "Who the fuck
no
is
memory.
this? Should I know this girl?"
There's
No,
memory
she's-
to
there is
refresh.
no
Okay.
memory.
Okay. Because everyone's talking about her like, "Oh, America Chavez," and I'm like, "Am I a fucking asshole? Like, do I not know who this
no.
bitch is?"
I mean, you are
You're
a
a
fucking
racist
asshole,
piece
but
of
still.
Sure, I am.
I
If
mean,
she
she's-
weren't Hispanic, I'd probably know who she was. But
Well, so that's Dave. One
Damn
good
true.
call-out. She's like the pinnacle of like inclusion. She's
Right.
I think Hispanic lesbian.
my
Her
favorite.
parents were
comic book
lesbians too, and
character.
I
Oh,
saw
dope.
that.
Yeah, but
Really, her
Sounds
parents were
hot.
lesbian too. They
more
went
importantly,
How was she
because none
born?
of-
all
more
in on
importantly,
the
because none of
inclusion
that
and
should
diversity.
matter. More important, because none of that should matter, is the fact that her specific power is being able to like hop through multiverses, hop between.
And is
What a-
she
what a
actually from
convenient
another
power.
universe or some shit?
The idea is that Wanda is actually chasing her down because Wanda is trying to get her kids
To help.
and
She's gonna get her to
what
help the
better
kids.
what better way to do so and go to all of these different universes, get her kids back, than to harness the literal power of somebody that is able to just pop into universes without even thinking about it. So
That's where-
I think
That's where
I-
we saw her because we know that she was cast in the movie, and we've seen like the star jacket, they teased that in the past, but this is the first one where we actually like see her, and you saw the star pop up right behind her when Steve, you would know, the monster that was made out of like the ribbons, that looked like it was like some the ribbons. He used that power in Endgame to try to steal.
Oh yeah, that thing. Oh shoot, I can't remember what it's called, but I know exactly what you're
He
talking
harnessed,
about.
yeah.
Thing that's
He harnessed
screaming
that
at her.
monster's. Yeah, he harnessed.
Yeah.
I forgot the name because obviously I don't read the comics, but he harnessed that monster's power in Endgame to try to snatch the gauntlet from Thanos. But this time we saw the actual monster screaming in her face. You could see the star jacket on her back, and then they pan to another shot where it was like just kind of below her, and you can see the actual star forming behind her. So we know that was the only thing in the MCU that we've had from her. So you are not a complete asshole. This is actually her first.
Just
20%.
This
This is her first
premiere.
appearance
good.
in the MCU.
I thought she popped up in Loki or some shit, and I'm just like, you don't fucking pay attention,
No.
Dave.
No, you don't. I mean, you don't, but still.
Oh, come on.
It has
who
nothing
heard,
to
who
do with
heard the
that.
Patrick Stewart? Fuck you guys.
I didn't hear.
I do know that when they were casting for her, Stephanie Beatrice was hinting very strongly that she would have liked to fill the role, and they ended up going with somebody else. Obviously,
I would have loved
I'd
Stephanie Beatrice. I love her.
Me too. I
She's
do
great.
too. I would have thought that would be great, but either way, I'm excited to get another kind of random obscure hero.
Yeah.
Dave, to your point, you didn't know who it was. Not a lot of people do, but she pops up.
Good.
Obviously throughout multiversal stories, and she's very relevant to that. So
I'm looking
I'll be
forward to
excited
it
to
now.
see how they utilize it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm super excited for this movie now.
I mean, I
Yeah.
was, but
And-
now I really
my-
am.
Yeah,
My last
for sure.
thought is all of the things they did show us, and Johnny said it earlier. All of the things that they don't show us or they make look different when we finally see the film, they can really screw with our heads. This might not even be. None of what's in that trailer could even be real for all
Right.
we know.
yeah.
So just remember that.
No Illuminati. Don't get your hopes up for the Illuminati.
No, it's not a thing. It's not real.
There is
Yeah.
no.
What if
Illuminati.
somebody finds that clip of Patrick Stewart's voice is actually from some other Disney-owned property that Patrick Stewart fucking it's not even
people-
from
That was
this
from
movie
it was
at
from an
all.
episode of American Dad.
People
Actually,
will
they
riot.
stole that. They stole that clip.
People will riot.
Yes, they will. Rightly so too.
Dave will as well.
We did end up getting Andrew Garfield though in Spider-Man, so
Right,
I
right.
think
So there's
we've got a
hope.
good chance here.
There's hope, dude.
Bro, the speculations on this is ridiculous. They're talking about what we talked about a long fucking time ago, very early on this show. Now it's super speculation that Harry Potter himself is going to be the new Wolverine and all kind of crazy shit. So much bizarre shit is being. So I have no idea what to believe, what not to believe. I'm focusing on what's in the trailer, and I didn't see any kind of. I try to stay away from any kind of leaks and shit like that.
Yeah.
But we don't know. So everything that we just talked about is all pure speculation. I have no idea. There's nothing that I have seen other than the trailer that you all have seen to really to point in any direction. And Steve probably knows a little bit more just because he's read the House of M comics, which seems to be a little bit of the possible premise here. Yeah. Anything else?
It's going to be a good time.
It's gonna be it's gonna be a great time, Steve.
The House of M. Before you go, the House of M comic. Let's say I wanted to read it. I wanted to go home. I wanted to buy it. Is this a long comic? Is it a series? Would it take me a long time to acquire the House of M knowledge that you have?
I think it's 5 or 6 issues. It's not a very long. It's a bunch of. There are with any Marvel comic series. They're all very intertwined. So in House of M, there's probably some lead up. I would suggest if you're going to read House of M, there's I think a 3-issue arc called Avengers Disassembled. The first issue of the Illuminati, I'm pretty sure, is also relevant. I can definitely send you some you can go
starting to get
you can go
more and
House
more.
of M.
Yeah, I was.
Five books, not a big deal.
I can
get
bang
through
that out tonight, bro. I can
They're
bang
like,
that
well,
up.
Okay,
He's
now
like,
it's
no.
8.
No.
Now
They
get
it's
intertwined.
9.
They're intertwined, bro.
Now it's 13.
You can read the House of M series and get a good story. If you want to go beyond, I can tell you what to do.
So that's I experienced that first with Civil War when I heard that was going to be coming out. And there is like a graphic novel that you can buy that has the main Civil War story arc all in one graphic novel. However, if you really look into it, it looks like there are other stories that intertwine, just like how the movies, like there's a tidbit here and there in other stories, and there's a whole lineup online on how, which, Fantastic Four number blah, blah, blah has this to, you have to read that in order to get this tidbit. So there's a whole there. So you could read the full on, like the main story arc that they have. But if you really want to get the full story, there are,
Gotta read it all.
there are
real fan.
When does it end? When do I have to stop reading everything to know everything? Like,
You have to read every Marvel comic book
That's
that's ever
crazy.
been.
you specifically asked about House of M, so there is an ending to that.
There is an end to that, yes.
So
Yes.
Not that I want to cut Steve out. I always want Steve to come back. I just, from my own personal knowledge, Steve.
It's a worthwhile story. No, I suggest reading it. I highly recommend.
he will buy it, then watch King of Queens for the 10,000th
100%.
time,
100%.
before he ever picks it up. So
100%.
That's so many facts
I
right there.
suggest that too, Dave. Go ahead and you watch your King of Queens, buddy.
Hey, I'm on my eighth watch through, so
and that's okay, buddy. It's all right. It's all right. Steve, thank you so much for joining us.
yes, buddy. It was
on
good
this
good to hear that lovely voice.
somewhat breakdown here.
I'm so glad you guys called, as always. I always like geeking out with you guys.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. It's not much geeking out. It's you geeking out and us
Yeah.
going, oh.
We get a nerd boner over your geeking out.
Dave, that's music to my ears. Any way I can give you one of those. I don't
Steve,
even need to, just with my sweet words.
Mission accomplished.
thanks again, buddy. Thank you so much. You
Thank you,
enjoy the
buddy.
rest of your night with your wife, bro.
Yeah, you guys have a great night. Thank you.
All right, peace.
Whoa.
Why would you have to take it there? Why would you have to take it there? I just meant enjoy the rest of your night with your lovely wife.
with
bro.
your
What the
lovely
fuck?
I wasn't taking it. I wasn't taking any of
Have
it.
fun with your
lovely
guys.
family. It was Johnny. Johnny was the one that did the thing.
Jesus.
Bye, Esteban.
Bye,
we love
Esteban.
you. Have fun with your wife tonight.
Jesus, man.
Yo.
Enjoy your time with your wife,
It's
buddy.
that Gary's good. Once that Gary's good gets flowing in him, he's got no filter.
I guess so.
All right, man. That breakdown took like 45 minutes.
That's what's up. That's why we started early. We were good, baby. We
was
were
good.
good.
It was good.
Yeah.
All right. As always, guys, do you have anything to add to this stellar conversation?
Not unless we want it cut and editing.
Guys, you know what that means. This is the end of the episode. And as always, thank you for making it all the way here. If you made it to this point, that means you are a true fucking fan. And we love you. Remember to rate, review on Apple Podcasts. We definitely appreciate when you do. Looks like Spotify added a small little rating scale. So please hit that 5-star if you feel like we deserve it on Spotify. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube and you made it this far, we really fucking appreciate you. And remember to hit that, ring that little bell. And always, to everyone, please share with your friends and family if you feel like they would enjoy our show. Also, if you really like the nerdy shit here, you might as well go over to DFAT, search some DFAT on your favorite podcast app. And then subscribe to some of the nerdy shit that they got going on, because it might tickle your fancy. And remember to support us by going to insensitivemerch.com. Stay drippy with Drippy. Other than that, guys, we love you. Peace.
Chip.